Well, hey everybody, welcome back to Cheap Brew. I'm Anthony, and today we're going to be brewing some beer. The brew that we're making today is a blonde ale, and for the first time, I believe in the history of the channel, I'm actually going to follow a recipe. This particular recipe comes from John's Homebrew and Wine Supply in Puyallup, Washington. I went here to get all the ingredients for this, which I'll run you through here in just a minute. But first, I just wanted to say thanks to John because he took this 5-gallon recipe, which I believe is his own actually, and pared it down for my 1-gallon version of it. So John, I'm gonna do my best not to fuck this up, but let's get into it. For starters, we are going to be doing this as a dry malt extract beer. So rather than going all grain, we're actually going to use some malt extract as our sugar source. We're going to be using 1 pound of this Pilsen Light. That's going to give us probably a starting gravity about 1.045 or so. To add a little bit of flavor and some color, we're going to be using this grain. This is 1 ounce of Caribbean, which is like a Crystal 20 or so. It's really light. And then a Pils as well, which is just basically base malt of sorts. For hops, we're going to be using 4.5 grams of Centennial hops, and for yeast, we're using Safe Ale US 05. This is an ale yeast, and we're only going to be using half the packet. In addition, I also bought this 1-gallon jug of water from the grocery store. It's spring water, not distilled water or anything like that. So it'll be a mix of this water and some tap water. But now that you know everything that you need and you're ready to start, let's get into the steps that we're going to take here. The first step is to fill up our pot with about 2 quarts of water and bring that to about a temperature of about 160 to 170. Then we're going to pull it off the burner and put in our mesh bag with the grains in it, and that's going to steep for about 30 minutes to 40 minutes or so. So I've set a timer for the grain to steep. That's going to be for 40 minutes. And then around 10 minutes left to go in the steeping, I'm going to bring a quart of water in a different pot to kind of like 170 degrees or so on this burner right here, which is burning because I'm trying to burn off the smell that this thing has. It's not like propane, it's like a plasticky smell. So that's a whole other issue on its own. Anyways, we'll get the water, and that's going to be used to rinse the grains. And then what we'll do is we'll add in our extract, and then we'll actually start to bring it up to a boil once that's all stirred in. Time's up. So now that we've added the malt extract, stirred it all in, and all of it is dissolved, we've got the burner on a heat that's high enough to get it to a boil. And what we can do while we're waiting for it to actually come to a boil break is measure out our first hop addition. So when the boil starts, we're going to want to add 1.5 grams of Centennial hops. So I'm going to measure that out real quick, and once the boil breaks, I'm going to add that in, and it's going to sit there, and it's going to give us a nice bittering flavor. So I just added the 1.5, probably closer to 2 grams of hops into the boiling wort since the boil has officially started. And now what we're gonna do is basically wait and try to figure out how we can stay ahead of the next step of this thing to make it go smoothly. We wanna keep this on a rolling boil, and we have plenty of propane to do that. So I'm gonna sit back, maybe have a couple of sips of my non-alcoholic Guinness, and try to brainstorm some more things that I can do to stay ahead of this. So we have about 10 minutes left in the boil, which means it's about time to start measuring out our next hop addition, which is about twice as much. It's going to be 3 grams, which is indeed twice as much. This is going to give us a nice hoppy aroma, and the Centennial hops smell really good, so I would definitely I'm definitely curious to see how that's going to turn up in the finished product. An additional observation, when you do this on your own, you'll probably notice this too, but when you're boiling it, you're basically turning the liquid into steam, right? So we will indeed boil off some of the water. And over the course of an hour or so, it's actually boiled off what I want to say is like probably close to a quart, maybe even a quart and a half, but probably just a quart. This will be easy for us to handle though, because we can just add in like an extra quart of water to help it cool down rather than doing an ice bath, and that should help us get to our fermenting temperature sooner. Enough about that. Let's go and measure out these hops so we can add it in 5 minutes before we do the flame out. So at this point, I've filled the pot back up to the original fill line using cold water, but we still only got a temperature of about 120 degrees. I think I am gonna have to go ahead with that ice bath after all. So the ice bath was a success. I would go even as far as to say as it maybe was too much of a success, because the wort is just a little on the cold side, I believe. I don't have any scientific reading or way to back that up, because the thermometer that I have only goes down to 100 degrees. When I was emptying all the stuff out of that brew pot into the 1 gallon fermenter that I had sanitized though, I decided to leave behind a little bit of the trub. I gave it a little extra time to kind of settle out a little bit, knowing that it's not gonna make too much of a difference, but a little bit less trub is a little bit more better. The next step that I'm gonna take is I'm gonna do a gravity reading. I've got my hydrometer and the test tube all sanitized, so we're gonna go ahead and take a quick sample with the auto siphon and see exactly where our gravity lies. All right, so after the gravity reading, we have a starting gravity of 1.055, which has a potential alcohol of about 7%. More realistically, the beer is gonna end up being about 5.5%, 4.5 to 5.5%, I'll say, somewhere in that range. Overall, pretty good starting point. 5% is a pretty reasonable average kind of level. And after the gravity reading, I added half the packet of yeast, and then I put on the lid and the airlock, and now we have 1 gallon of Shabby Road Blonde Ale wort. It's gonna go into ferment now, and it's gonna probably take about 2 weeks or so for this sucker to finish, but I'm looking forward to seeing exactly what that looks like when it's done and when it clears in the bottle too. Since it's a little cold, I'm gonna tuck it away in the cabinet next to the dishwasher, where it does like to stay nice and toasty, and I have to run the dishwasher anyway because I got some cleaning to do. Anyways, I'm gonna put this away and I'll catch up with you with the fermentation and then at the bottling. So it's day 2 of fermentation, and this right here, ladies and gentlemen, is the reason why you always leave some room at the top of your fermenter. Beers are so fun to watch ferment. They usually go pretty vigorously and have a lot of foam up at the top. I've had it before where it does climb up out of this little tube right here in the middle. We got really close, really close. And now, back to your regularly scheduled programming. It's now day 7 of fermenting this blonde ale, and speaking of fermenting this blonde ale, the yeast are not really doing much of that anymore. So I'm gonna take a quick gravity reading and check and make sure that they've effectively done their job. Assuming they have, I think it's gonna be time to bottle them. In preparation for bottling day, I've already gone ahead and sanitized a new fermenter that I can rack all that stuff in the primary fermenter into. Additionally, all the equipment I'm going to use is in the bucket behind me as well, on top of a small container containing about 12 bottle caps with a beautiful picture of a hop on them. And then eventually, when I free up some more space in the sanitization bucket, I'm gonna sanitize 10 of the 12-ounce bottles because I know I'm not gonna have a full gallon. I think the only thing left to do is to actually get doing it. So let's get started. So the results of the gravity reading were 1.010. In terms of the alcohol content, our starting gravity was 1.055, so it's a 5.9% ABV brew, which is pretty reasonable. I'm pretty happy with that. And I gotta say, it smells pretty good too while we're on the subject. So I now declare that this is bottling day. I've already gone ahead and racked off of the lees in the primary fermenter into a different 1-gallon jug. I'm gonna use that 1-gallon jug as a bottling vessel, essentially. I'm gonna sanitize 10 of the 12-ounce bottles, and then I'm gonna fill those suckers up. I am gonna be using some priming sugar as well. Instead of making a corn sugar mixture, I'm going to be using these Mangrove Jack carbonation drops. It's just sugar, so it's the same thing, but in a lozenge. One in each bottle should do the trick, but I think I'm wasting time talking at the camera. I'm gonna get bottling. Just like that, we've got 9 12-ounce bottles of Shabby Road Blonde Ale at 5.9% ABV. The next step is we're gonna let these sit in this box and they are going to carbonate. That little drop that I put in there, like I said, it has sugar in it. There's still gonna be some yeast in here. They're probably still a little bit hungry, so they're gonna eat that sugar, make some more carbon dioxide, and that's going to pressurize these bottles, all except for probably this one. I don't know why I'm keeping this one. I just am, okay? No judging. But if you are gonna judge, put it in the comments. I'm gonna pop these back into the box. I'm gonna let them sit for at least a week. I think it's gonna be a little bit longer than a week because I've got a couple of good long stretches of work coming. But once that's done, I'm thinking sometime in 2026, I'll pop one of these open and have a little tasty tasting. In the meantime, please enjoy watching me put these bottles back into the box. It is now day 21 of our Shabby Road Blonde Ale brew, and I gotta say, look at this sucker. This thing is beautiful, albeit possibly a little bit on the hazy side, but it smells good, very grainy. I do like that grain kind of smell. Now that it is fully carbonated and it is ready to drink, we're gonna dive into some observations about our blonde ale here. Before I dive into that, I would like to caveat this with saying, if you hadn't seen the video where I was talking about why I took a break from making videos for a while, the culmination of that video is basically the point that I'm about to make. This is my first alcoholic beer in 2 years, first alcoholic drink in 2 years, unless you count the small sips of maple wine that I had. So this is breaking the streak right here and keeping in tradition with the rules that I've set forth. I made this so I can drink it. That's the rule. So with all that said, let's get into kind of some observations. Let's start with kind of a smell observation here. It's it's almost got like an amber kind of quality to it in a way, and I think that's probably just because maybe we used the dry malt extract. But I mean, also in the little grain bag, we did have a small amount of kind of like, I think it was a crystal 20. So there will be a hint of that amber kind of character in it. But as you can see, it's a very light color, but it's a very strong smell of malted barley with that hint of amber. I already mentioned the look. It's a little hazy. There's plenty of bubbles coming up in this thing, and when I poured it out, there was a fairly strong amount of carbonation on it. It's died down now. It's ready for sipping. Speaking of sipping, let's give it a taste test, shall we? Whew. Wow. So there's some stuff to talk about there. First of all, I'm gonna go out and say that this is probably the most palatable beer that I have ever made. That's pretty neat. Second, there is a strong floral component to the beer. It's not super bitter, but obviously that 15-minute or was it 5 minutes? It's a 5-minute hop addition. Put in that big flavor of hops there. And the smaller bittering addition at the very beginning, we didn't do a lot of hops, so there's not a lot of bitterness to it. I suppose it's a little bitter. We have to have a second sip to really find out. That's solid. Wow, I'm so impressed. I would strongly recommend trying this at home. And I honestly think that I probably would do this again if it wasn't for the fact that I'm in an experimentation phase. It'll be interesting to do a side-by-side taste comparison with this and then the amber and the stout that I'm planning on making. This is pretty hard to beat. I hope that if you're getting into home brewing, that this is a recipe that you'll give a shot to. This was super easy, and I am by no means a talented home brewer, but this worked out really well, and I want to give credit to the recipe, to John for making this recipe top notch. Great job, sir. If you enjoyed watching this video about how to make this blonde ale, don't forget to like the video and subscribe, because there's going to be more beer videos coming up in the future. Let me know in the comments if you see anything that I could have done differently, or you did differently when you make this. Between now and then, I guess I'll catch you on the flip side. I'm gonna drink a little bit more of this beer, and then I'm gonna go to bed. Cheers.